Okay, so our task is to print level order traversal of a tree. What is a level order traversal? A level order traversal means traversing the tree level by level, generally in a top-down fashion. An important point to note is that I've assumed that at each level I am moving from left to right. So at any particular level, I'd be printing the left node first before the right node. So let's take an example over here. I start with the first level, I print node 1, then I move on to the next level, I go from left to right, that is I print node 3, then I print node 2, which is exactly what I'm doing. Then I go on to the next level, I print node 5 and node 4 from left to right, that is node 5, node 4. Let's consider the algorithm from the next slide. So let's consider the iterative approach to solve the problem. I start by creating a first in first out queue Q. I assign a variable pointer temp as the root element. So temp gives me a pointer to the current element that I have to process. I start from the root element because in top-down traversal I traverse the root element before all the elements, so I assign the pointer temp as the root element. Okay, so let's consider the iterative part of the algorithm now. While temp is not equal to null, that is, there is still a current element left to be traversed in the level order sense, I perform these iterations. I start by printing the current element as needed. Then I put the left child of temp on the queue. Then I put the right child of temp on the queue. It's important to note that the order in which the elements are added in the queue after the root element is the order of level order traversal. Okay, so this is the queue. I put the left element, that is left, on the queue first before I put the right element. This means that I have to traverse the left element before I go on to traverse the right element. The reason that I'm doing this is when I want to traverse the next element, I simply dequeue a node from the queue and assign its value to temp, like I'm doing in this step. So essentially, I'll dequeue the left element before I dequeue the right element. So I dequeue the left element, I print it, and then I dequeue the right element. As I talked about earlier, the order in which the elements are in the queue is the order of level order traversal. So to perform the level order traversal of the next element, I dequeue a node from the queue and assign its value to temp. So temp will go over here and it will be the current element and it will be processed next. So let me take a small little example first and then go on to a bigger example. Say this is the tree that I have to do a level order traversal of. So the order in which the elements are taken is first this element, then this element, and then this element. So essentially I have to print the root element first, as I've done over here. Then I print its left child and then its right child. So I put 2 on the queue first, right, according to this step. Then I put 3 on the queue. As I can see, because I have to process the node 2 before the node 3, I put node 2 in the queue before node 3. So I dequeue node 2, I process it, then I dequeue node 3 and I process it. Also, something that I might have missed out earlier is that if the left child or the right child of temp is a null, I don't push any elements on the queue. So when I was processing node 2, because node 2 doesn't have a left child or the right child, so because it has no left child or right child, so these two steps don't make a lot of sense and I simply don't do anything in these steps, right? So let's consider a bigger example now. Okay, so let's consider this tree. First of all, I assign temp as a pointer to the root element, that is node 1 in this case. I start by printing the data element of node 1. So this is traversed first. So I'll write down the order of traversal over here and I'll write down the Q over here, and this is the value of temp. Okay, so initially temp was 1 and I started traversing the node 1, so I put the node 1 over here. Then I put the left child of node 1 on the queue. Then I put the right child of node 1 on the queue. Okay, so once I've done that, I dequeue a node from the queue and assign its value to temp. So I dequeue node 3, assign its value to temp. So temp now becomes 3. Now I traverse the node element 3. I have to put the left child of 3 and the right child of 3 on the queue because the node 3 doesn't have any left child and it also doesn't have any right child, so these steps are completely ignored. I dequeue a node from the queue and assign its value to temp. Okay, so I dequeue node 2 and assign its value to temp. So temp now becomes this and I traverse the node 2. Right. So then I put the left child and the right child of node 2 on the queue. So the left child would be 5 and the right child would be 4. Then I dequeue the from the queue, and so I put the value 5 in temp. I process the element 5, then I process the element 4. So the order of traversal is 1, 3, 2, 5, 4, which is the required level order traversal.